the Titans, the division is ours. I don't care what Houston did yesterday. They're going to go get their Letterman jackets again. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-6 against the Titans since Pat McAfee came up here and did his wrestling announcement. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since I was a senior in high school.
What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Fan Battle Podcast, brought to you by the Fan Battle Sports Network. I am your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Tyler. Let him know where you're at.
Yes, sir. Roster cuts are done. We know pretty much who's going to be on the roster. I'm excited. Most excited I've been, like I said on Twitter earlier, since we went on to be the number one seed in the AFC. Let's get it. We have an actual receiver instead of a broken down Julio now. We have the guys on defense. We are ready, baby. It's that time. We almost there, Max. We are almost there. It's so close. Let's get it.
I know, man. It's like, 10 days? Yeah, 10 days away. We are, 9 if you want to count today is over. But anyway. Yeah, man, roster cut down. So we had a few shocks, a few surprises, they were surprises to me. We had a few that weren't cut that were kind of surprising. I believe you and Cortland both kind of talked me into cutting Jamarco Jones and Corey Levin, and it looks like both of them are going to stick around on the team, which is kind of crazy.
I thought Corey Levin was going to make it over Ruse. I will throw that out there. I did.
Again, yeah. I was shocked that they let Ruse go and kept Levin.
I wasn't. Ruse just didn't impress me too much, so I wasn't really that shocked to see him go. I was surprised today that we cut Justin Murray.
I was going to say another big surprise to me was Justin Murray. Yeah,
that got me. But then again, Rand is doing his thing. That's what's so crazy about it to me. He has put his imprint all over this roster. Saw earlier today that can't remember the source. Please forgive me, guys. But we have the tied for 5th on percentage of players coming back from last season in the NFL. So we're actually tied with the Atlanta Titans. And to me, the teams at the top of the list, really the top 10 besides the Titans, are almost rebuild teams. So we can expect that from them. However, we kept the right guys in the right places. That's what's so beautiful about this roster turnover that we've done. You don't really want to keep a team together that lost 7 straight games to end last season, and we lost out on the playoffs. You don't want that. So we kept the right guys in the right places, and we turned around the roster where it needed to be turned around. It's not quite as open on offense as I'm looking forward to, but I am very excited about what Rand is doing with Coach Vrabel and the entire staff. This team looks like it could be that one that we've been waiting on.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm like you. I don't remember the source because I read so many darn tweets throughout the day. But somebody quoted, or I'm going to quote somebody, but they said, Rand is playing chess, not checkers.
Yes.
And I thought that was the perfect analogy because that is exactly what he's doing. He's playing the long game. You can see it in how many rookies we kept this year compared to years prior. You can see it with the practice squad that we kept. Not a whole lot of veterans on there. I mean, there are some veterans, but most of the veterans are from Tennessee. So it's It's very interesting the way that they're doing it, and the players that we really wanted to keep on the roster. You know, some of the surprising cuts like Garrar, Thomas Odukoye, some of these guys that we thought were going to make it didn't make the team, but it's all right because we got them on the practice squad.
Yep.
So I mean, I feel like, you know, we got the guys that we want. And I feel like they did a really good job on the roster cut. Now, I'm not too upset with any of the picks. The only one that kind of threw me for a loop was Chance Warmack. Or excuse me, Chance Campbell. I'm sorry, Chance Warmack. Well, I went back a few years there and a different position. But anyway, Chance Campbell.
Boy, he didn't do much for me.
No, he did. Man, I wanted him to succeed too, man. I really had high hopes for him. But anyway, Chance Campbell got cut, and I was surprised by that. And so yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. But and they kept Monty Rice.
About to say, you tell you what, I'm not surprised by. Monty Rice is on this roster. I told y'all he was not getting cut. I want to throw it. I'm a very big person on. I told you so. Not to say I told you so, but I did.
That's hilarious.
I told everybody Monty Rice was going to be on this team. They're not cutting a guy that has that much potential in going into year 3. He's done way more. And I know we had this discussion, kind of the Racey McMath, Monty Rice discussion.
Mm-hmm.
He's done so much more than Racey McMath
has
for this team. And just as a backup, a solid backup option, there's not a lot of good, genuinely good middle linebackers in the NFL. It's kind of one of those dying positions like we talk about with running back. It's kind of one of those positions where I don't want to pay a guy $10, $15 million to be a middle linebacker. So if I have a guy like Monty Rice, who's a good, solid backup, still on a rookie contract, why would I get rid of that when the rest of our linebackers besides Al-Shaair are really, really slow and they're decent? Put it like that, because I don't want to talk bad about my Titans guys. I want them to succeed so badly, but I have very little faith in this linebacking core outside of Al-Shaair. Very little. I wish we would have gotten somebody, but it's okay because our secondary, our line is amazing. So linebackers, just don't mess it up, please.
Well, and another reason, to be honest, to be fair, before they had made a name for themselves here, who was David Long Jr.?
That's true.
Who was Rashad Evans? None of these. Well, yeah, okay.
Who did he turn into?
All right, look, that wasn't a great example. But my point is that as long as Mike Vrabel is our coach, we're going to get the most out of our linebackers. So linebackers are one of those positions that we can kind of go a little light on and still be all right. You know, especially when you got a bomb starter like Al-Shaair, I believe is going to be for us this year. But if you got Vrabel he just gets, I guess because he was a linebacker, he gets the most out of him. He really does. He turns mediocre linebackers into good linebackers. He turns good linebackers into great linebackers. So, and that's why when they leave here, they're always trash, because it's Vrabel that makes them that good. And,
if Dr. Gibby can turn into a good linebacker, I will be very happy. Very happy. And I will give you all the props in the world, Max, because you've been on Team Gibby since day one. And I will be happy for you, and I'll be happy for the Titans. I don't see it. However, I hope I'm wrong. Hopefully he's a Coach Vrabel. If he's a Mike Vrabel at linebacker, then we've hit the lottery. I don't see it once again. But
I'll have to say that I'm not a big "I'm told you so" guy. I'm actually one that just kind of sits back and smiles and just revels in it. But I am going to do it this time because Colton Dowell made the team.
Yes.
Not only did he make the team, but in a press conference with Mike Vrabel, I don't know if you heard it or not, but he gave him very, very high praise, which he said he could play any position. I thought that was very interesting. I don't know. It was very good to hear after seeing the preseason that he had and the training camp that he had, where he kind of blended in. Didn't really stand out anywhere, not to me anyway. Obviously, he stood out to the coaches and the right people, and that's good. But on tape, from what I saw, it didn't really really stand out to me any. But he did enough, and I'm happy for him. I'm glad he made it. Yeah, I told you so. But
I thought it was great that every draft pick made the initial roster. That's awesome. That's great. So
yes,
even down to the 7th round. But like you said, man, I think Colton Dow has a lot of potential. He has the potential to be better than NWI. And I've said it a bunch before. They look just alike to me. I don't know if it's just I don't know what it is, but I think Colton Dow is 1 inch taller and NWI is like 5 pounds heavier.
yeah, and he is a lot faster.
Yeah, well, that's a low bar.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Colton Dow actually runs, I think, like a 4.42 or 4.45 or something like that. He's quick for as big as he is.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And you know how we love our big receivers in Nashville. So
yeah.
Now you know who I'm most excited about on this wide receiver core, Kearis Jackson. Man, that's the guy. That's even if he doesn't make an impact at receiver, if he can catch kicks and punts and get us some yards, I will be happy with it. Most every kickoff this year is going to be a fair catch, get it at the 25-yard line, go on about our business on offense. Punt returns, not so much. So if Kyle Phillips wants to be a specialized wide receiver, let him do that and let Kearis do his thing at punt returner. I don't know if that's what we're going to do, but Garrard is not on the team. So
I've heard a lot of chatter about that on Twitter. And I'd like to set one thing at least straight real quick. If Kyle Phillips wasn't expected or didn't have his punt return ability, he wouldn't have been drafted where he was drafted.
That's true. There's
no way an NFL team would draft a guy that size to be an every down wide receiver. It's just not. It's just not. I mean, even a 50% guy. No.
We need him to play slot.
That's it. Yeah. You're like a 30% wide receiver at best, and a punt returner, and that's it. I don't even want you on kickoff returns.
But is he really that good at punt returning in the NFL?
You know, to be honest, I'll say this. I went back and watched some tape because, every time you bring attention to a player, I go back and watch some tape. And, God, I can't believe I overlooked Kearis. But being a Bulldog fan, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and watch some tape on this guy, at least the preseason of what I can watch, Very first game, I pointed it out in the podcast, but I guess it didn't stick with me. But everybody got real excited over Kyle Phillips' first punt return. Went for 17 yards.
Yeah.
Kearis Jackson had a punt return for 17 yards in that game. And, I mean, his average was like 12 yards or something like that. So he had a great punt return average off 2 punts. And then he did nothing but succeed he actually got open more than he got the ball. And especially in that first game. In that first game, he was just wide open a lot. I don't know if they just weren't that good or if people weren't paying attention to him and then went, hey, this guy's getting wide open. We need to make sure we're on him or, what, I don't know. But I'm just saying in the first game, Kearis Jackson was open. He should have had over 100 receiving yards in that game. Easy. And, I should have known. I mean, the guy plays in the toughest conference, and successful there, And I can't believe he went undrafted, to be honest, now that I'm looking back on it.
Injury-ridden.
I was going to say, I guess his size is what hurt him the most. But watching him play, he doesn't play like a man of his size.
Right.
He's not that much bigger than Phillips.
Right.
But he sure does play a lot bigger than Phillips.
And yes, he does.
when he gets hit, no knock on Phillips, man. I'm not, again, I know it was a freak hit that he got hurt on this time, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm glad we got Kearis because he's going to be, I think, I said this earlier on Twitter, or maybe it was Facebook. I'm not sure, but I commented to somebody that I think Kearis is going to be what we wished Phillips was when we drafted him. And I stand by that. I think at the end of the season, we're going to be like, man, Kearis Jackson's the number 3 wide receiver. Easy.
I hope so. To me, they're different. They're completely different players. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the eye test. I have nothing to back that up at all. But Kearis is a lot different from Kyle Phillips. They might be exactly the same type of player, but if Kearis can go in, like you're saying, 20 to 30% of snaps a game and get us a first down every now and then I'm fine with it. The only problem that we have with him is at Georgia, he was riddled with injuries. Kyle Phillips, riddled with injuries. Can we get a receiver that's not injury-ridden? No, we cannot. That's why we're the Tennessee Titans and we run the ball a lot because we cannot get receivers who stay healthy. But no, Kearis, man, he's a dog through and through, true to the name of Georgia. He's a straight dog. And the UFDA class of this entire, or UDFA class, yeah,
you got it right.
Good Lord. The entire class is amazing. I think we had 5 guys that made the roster that were undrafted free agents. That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
it was
amazing.
a good year.
Yes, it was. And I credit everything to Rand and his analytics department that is doing work. If you look at the 49ers, they suck at drafting in the first round. They're great at drafting every other time, and they're great with undrafted free agents. They find diamonds in the rough. See Brock Purdy, for example. That type of intelligence when it comes to finding these guys is exactly what we need in Nashville, because we are not a prime destination for free agents. We don't get the big name guys unless we draft them and develop them, or they're over 30 years old. So if we can get these guys in and they become something, man, all credit to Rand. This is the type of team and the type of front office I've been waiting on in Tennessee.
Well, and give a little bit of credit, because now you've seen it with your own eyes. Give a little bit of credit to the city of Nashville.
Oh, I do. I love Nashville.
I mean,
I think Nashville is one of the prime cities in the South now. But if we look at LA, New York, Texas, it's hard to pull guys that or Miami even.
I was going to say Miami's one of those spots. It's like,
I mean, well, if you give me the choice, hey, man, I'm going to pay you $5 million to work in Nashville, or I'm going to pay you $5 million to work in Miami and live in Miami. All right, bro, you got me. I'm going to Miami. Like, this kind of goes back to the LeBron decision. Like, would you rather work in Cleveland or would you rather work in Miami? You're going to Miami, bro. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But like I said, if you get drafted into the league and you're just thankful for the opportunity to play for 4 years, well, that's the type of guys that we want, the type of guys we want in Nashville.
Agreed. New additions. We got a new kicker. And in my opinion, 2 new kickers. And in my opinion, I think we paid exactly the perfect price for him.
Yes.
A 7th round pick in the 2025 draft. So next year, 7th round pick is gone. No more Colton Dow for next year, dang it. But but we got a kicker for this year that looked a lot better than the kickers we had before. I mean, he's not perfect. He's not great, but I think he's better than Bullock. I think he's going to be better than Randy Bullock. And to be honest, that's
absolutely better than Randy Bullock.
Yeah, he can actually hit a 50-yarder.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. And then we got Cade York on the practice squad, young kicker. I think he's like 26, 25, 26. I thought he was
like 23.
He might be. I don't know. I know he's young. I know he is kind of he was erratic last year on his field goals, and I think that's why the Browns elected to let him go. But I mean, he's a rookie. You give it
22. Shout out to
22.
Derrick Henry. He is 22 years old.
My goodness. All right, he's young as crap. So basically, we do what we did last year with Shoot It. It's the same thing. We're letting this guy develop, see if he can turn into something awesome by next year. If he can't, then we'll probably move on or whatever, like we did with Shoot It.
This isn't just a normal kicker. This is a 4th round draft pick kicker. They wanted him so badly that they took him in the 4th round last year. That's insane.
Well, not only that, I think he hit like 12 out of 15 of kicks over 50 yards last year. He just missed a lot of his field goals. I think he had like a 18% miss rate on his field goals or something like that, which isn't great. You want to bang those through, you know what I mean? Those should be gimmies. But I mean, I'm not gonna beat up on a guy for for missing a field goal here and there, but
even his rookie season, I mean, it says he go 24 of 32. Let's look up some better stats than that. I need some specifics here. As a rookie, though, I mean, 21 years old in the NFL, man. Like, could you imagine the pressure? Remember being 21, how stupid we were?
Yeah, I do. And that's the crazy part. I remember what it was like to be 21 because I still think I'm 21. So I get it, but there's no way I could have the maturity level that these guys have. No. I would be one of those stories that, guy did something dumb and got his whole career ruined because he, did something. But
so, from 20 to 29 yards, 5 of 5, 30 to 39 yards, 9 of 12, 40 to 49, 6 of 8, 50 plus, 4 of 7, with a long of 58. So he had a 75% field goal make rate with a long of 58. And then on extra points went 35 of 37 as a rookie.
Oh, well, that ain't that bad.
You remember last podcast when I was talking about getting a 22, 23-year-old guy who could be our kicker for 15 years? This could very well be that guy.
That's what I'm saying.
From him this year, hopefully Folk can do his thing. He's 38 years old. Mentor the guy. Like that's one big thing. If we spend a 7th round pick on you, please mentor this young kicker so he can be our kicker for the next 15 years. Like, just kick for us this year, retire after this year, go into the sunset, do whatever you do, and let Cade York come in and be our kicker and just mentor, because Folk was perfect from under 40 yards last year. I think it was like 16 of 16, something like that. Once he got over 40, it got a little shaky, but under 40, he was perfect. If you put 2 kickers together, well, we have Justin Tucker there. So if that's what we can get out of it, then that's fine. I love it. I love what Rand did with this for sure.
Yeah, like I said, perfect price for, a guy that's going to, get us there. Probably keep us in a couple games because, a lot of games come down to the 3 points with the Titans.
Yep.
So, the other big thing I wanted to talk about was another addition, which was Trevis Gibson.
Yes, sir.
Really excited about that one. 7 sacks in 2021 for the Bears. That's when they played in a 3-4. They got a new defensive coordinator, or switched their defensive scheme to a 4-3 the next year, and he couldn't cut it. I guess he just didn't pan out in the 4-3 system. He's not a hand in the dirt kind of guy, I guess. But that's all right because we play 3-4, 4-3 hybrid, and I'm sure the defensive coaches are smart enough to know that he plays good in a 3-4 and not a 4-3. So he's going to be in our 3-4 packages. He's probably going to make some more plays for us, and he's going to be another rotational sack. Machine. We're going to have, I don't know how many. Let's see, 5. We have 5 edge rushers, and all of them are good. 3 of them are excellent, and one of them is a superstar.
Yes.
So And that's not even counting our defensive line.
Right.
That's just talking about edge.
That's just the edge guys. Yes.
You add the 3 guys on the defensive line that can rip you apart. And then all of a sudden you've got blitzers coming from Al-Shaair or Ryan Molden. I mean, you get really creative with a front 7 like that. And to be honest, you can drop the other guys a lot of times, and just let them do their thing. I don't know. I'm really excited. I haven't been this excited about our pass rush in a long time.
Yeah.
The Freak is one of my favorite players. Kyle Vanden Bosch is one of my favorite players. Albert Haynesworth is one of my favorite players. Jarrell, you see a pattern here,
right?
I like dudes that beat up on the quarterback. That's and because they're and I like nasty guys. I like guys that have a high motor, highly athletic. That's what I love to see. And to be honest, I'm really excited about this season. I cannot wait to watch these guys eat, man. It's going to be not only exciting, but fun to watch.
Yeah. 3 out of 4 of those guys that you named, I would give comps to on this team. The Freak, Jarrell Casey, and Kyle Vanden Bosch. Those 3 guys, I wouldn't say we have an Albert Haynesworth, which Teair Tart might come close to that this year if he plays like he did in the preseason. But when you look at Jeffrey Simmons, that's honestly a little bit more monstrous than Jarrell Casey actually was. I love Jarrell Casey. Don't get me wrong. One of my favorite Titans of all time. Do not clip this saying that I'm hating on that man. I love him. Don't do that, please. But Big Jeff, absolute monster. Arden Key and or Harold Landry as the Freak, because both of them are monsters. And I believe that this year you're going to see an entirely different version of Arden Key because he's been playing with the Jags, the poverty franchise in the South. He's been playing with them, and he actually did good down there. And so now he's coming to a real defense, and he's going to get to play with some real defensive players and have a chance to not have to be the star and not have, well, he wasn't the star. Let me rephrase that, but not have to be one of the guys that the defense is relying on. He can just play and be himself and be a good morale guy and get us 7 or 8 sacks. Like my bar for him is 5. So if he gets to 5 sacks this year, I'm going to be very excited. And Josh Allen from the Jags Fan Battle podcast has to eat his hat. Because the first podcast I was ever on, when I was extremely nervous, they all attacked me, and they attacked me when I said Arden Key was getting 5 sacks. So I'm going to clip it. Josh, be ready to eat that hat about halfway through the season.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
So, but with Travis, however, back to Travis.
Mm-hmm.
He was in, all right, so 2021, 7 sacks, right? In the 3-4 defense. He's got Robert Quinn with him. They have linemen in Chicago. Last year, they tanked in a bad way. They tanked horribly and traded Robert Quinn. He had nobody else on the defensive line with him. He was number 4 in the NFL in double team rate. Double teamed almost every pass rush in a system that he did not want to play in. So now, like we just said, you have a system that is beautiful for anybody who can come in and wants to rush the passer. Who are you going to block? If you have 4 guys coming at you, you can't double team them all. You're going to have to double team Jeffrey Simmons. If you don't double team him, he's getting 4 sacks in a game on you, and we've seen it.
You can double team him, he'll still sack you.
Exactly. Arden Key is another guy. Harold Landry is another guy. Teair Tart's another guy. Danico Autry, another guy. And now we add in Travis Gibson. Rashad Weaver had, 6 sacks last year? And now we add in Travis Gibson, who had
extremely excited about Caleb Murphy.
And Caleb Murphy is another depth piece. We have those guys. We have the 4 rotation of 4 that you get busted up in the first quarter by this starting crew. And then, all right, they want to get something to drink and chill for a minute. Well, let's let these other 4 guys come in here, and you can't block them. That's a starting defensive line on almost any other team in the NFL. Our backup defensive line is. And not to take up half the show talking about the defensive line, but if we're going to talk about things that we're most excited about this year, that's it. That's the elite. What we've been missing to be contenders in Nashville is what is elite. We've been good at a lot of things, but nothing has been actually elite except for Derrick Henry. And now we have Derrick Henry, and on the other side of the ball, we have the guys that are his size on the defensive line. Elite. I'm ready. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. I mean, we got a little, I coach a little league football.
Hey, I see you, Zach. Top 3, but not number 2 or 3.
That's right. But we have like 5 or 6 running backs or kids that are good at running back. But you can only have 4 in the backfield. One's a quarterback.
Right.
So we literally rotate those guys out. Whoever gets hot in a game, guess what? Third, fourth quarter, that's who's getting the ball the most. We rotate them still, but you get the ball. Whoever's hot gets the ball. Same thing with our defensive guys.
Yep.
It's going to be just like that. Whoever gets hot, that's who's going to be in third, fourth quarter most of the passing attack. They're going to, Caleb Murphy got 2 sacks and, Rashad Weaver ain't got none in this game. Well, put Caleb Murphy out there.
Right.
Because he's hot. I mean, you give the hot guy the ball. I mean, or let him go get the ball, whatever. But, yeah, I'm just super excited. Sorry. Yeah, I had to go back on that. But, yeah, super excited about the defensive line because, like you said, man, that's the bread and butter. Every good football fan knows you win and lose by your line.
Yep.
Whether it be offensive line or defensive line. Yeah, you got to have good on both sides of the ball. That's where it all starts.
Yep.
That's your foundation. It's your concrete. So you got to have a good line. And right now, our defensive line is, I'd put it right up there, right. Preseason, I'm going to say top 5 because I don't really know what everybody's got out there right now. I haven't been doing a whole lot of homework on other teams since I started this whole thing. So, but to be honest, I think probably more realistically, we're top 3, maybe the top defensive front 7, as far as the NFL goes, or at least the front 5. I don't know about the front 7 because but the front 5 for sure. We're top 3 at least.
Well, I'll say this: we were number 1 last year in rush yards per game given up. So it's already you're the best rush defense in the NFL, and then we've done nothing but get better. We haven't lost anything up front. So, yeah, I'll go as far as to say we're the best defensive line in the NFL. And honestly, it's not just because I'm a homer, which I love the Titans, but I'm also willing to admit whenever we suck at something. And but at the same time, I'm going to brag on it whenever we're really good at something. And this defensive line is incredible. This is the best defensive line that I've ever seen in Nashville, ever. By far, the deepest, most talent, anchored by a top 3 defensive end / defensive tackle. So, ain't what the truth. I need some clarification on that. I feel like that was a rip at me right
now.
I
think she's agreeing with you, man. I think she's agreeing with you, but yeah.
No, that's my fiance, everybody. She knows. But this is absolutely the best defensive line in the Titans. Really, I feel like the Titans history. We had some great ones back in the day, and this one is deep, man. It's deep. So, yeah, and it makes the entire defense great. So, let's see. I'm ready to see what we do. Oh, yes, I do. I do. She knows. She can hear me all the time. Last year, I had so many complaints. Words I can't say on the air.
Yeah. Before I started editing myself, it was even the podcast had some choice words. I remember I put out a video. It might have been 2 years. No, it was last year. I think so. I think it was last year. It was after a game. We had some really terrible calls in the game, and I got on and dropped a lot of foul words on a video, and I was kind of embarrassed about it, if I'm being honest. But yeah. Anyway, so on to the next thing, guys. Really sorry we got kind of carried away Monday with the show and what we were talking about.
Yes.
And we want to get to all the fan questions that we got that we didn't get to Monday. So we're going to kind of go over those. We got a few, one or two we're going to skip kind of over because we've already talked about it so much. But yeah. But it said, do you see us keeping Caleb Farley? Obviously, that question's already been answered. But yes, we're going to keep Caleb Farley. Even before the 53-man roster, I could have told you we were keeping Caleb Farley. We've talked about the $2 million. We've talked about it 5 or 6 times on the show.
Hope he's doing good. I hope he's okay.
Yeah,
I really do. I think about that from time to time. Man, that whole situation is terrible. But we don't have to spend too much time on that. Yes, Caleb Farley is a Titan, and he's going to be a Titan until it doesn't cost millions of dollars for him to not be a Titan.
At least until next year.
Right.
Yeah, next year we don't really lose anything for cutting him. So at that point, maybe he's gone. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. He might ball out this season and prove us all to be wrong.
I hope so. That would be amazing, man.
It would be
incredible.
I would absolutely love it. Yeah,
what a
especially
story.
I was gonna say, wouldn't that make like a great storyline? To come back from something like that and perspire in the NFL, that would be amazing. The other question that he had for us was, how bad does Tannehill have to play for either Malik Willis or Will Levis to do to him what we did to Mariota in 2019?
I have the answer to this, and I've been thinking about this answer since I saw that question. No disrespect to whoever asked it, none whatsoever.
It was just a Titan fan. He's actually one of my dudes on Facebook.
Yeah, I've interacted with him before. Good dude right there.
Yeah.
However, Tannehill would have to retire. He would have to quit before we let Will Levis or Malik Willis become the starter this year. No way. There's no way. Ryan Tannehill is not going to be bad enough of a quarterback to where one of those guys play this year. After what we just saw in the preseason, Malik still can't move the ball down the field consistently. All love to Malik. I hope he thrives this season and becomes better next offseason, and we have a great quarterback battle next training camp. But I do not want to see either one of those guys take a snap for the Titans this year unless we're blowing someone out by 50 points, which isn't going to happen. So I want to see Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill has to retire for that to happen.
I actually disagree with that, but on the same kind of wavelength, man, because, like, to be honest, he would have to throw like 3 interceptions every single game. We'd have to lose like 6 or 7 games in a row because of him and his play, which I just don't think is going to happen. So, yeah, long shot,
if we lose
man.
7 games in a row in the middle of the season, I don't care. I just don't care if Ryan Tannehill or whoever's the quarterback now. Because at that point, we're not trying to win games. We're trying to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
we're rooting for losses at that point. If we're trying to win, though, like we think we're going to do, yes, Ryan Tannehill is our starter. That's the only way. And like we've said 4 or 5 times now, Ryan Tannehill gets paid over $30 million a year to be your quarterback. You do not want him sitting on the bench. No one in their right mind is going to trade for a $36 million contract in a quarterback who has not lived up to that much money. If you could offload that contract, it would be different. However, we're paying Tannehill over $30 million. He is the starting quarterback and needs to be a productive starting quarterback. I'm not a Tannehill homer. I'm not a big, huge stan of Tannehill, anything along those lines. I've had my bouts with the Tannehill stardom. And after the Bengals playoff game that we had posted earlier, that game really tested my loyalty to Ryan Tannehill. But let's have all the faith in the world. Like I said on Twitter a few weeks ago, if Joe Flacco can lead the Ravens to a championship, Ryan Tannehill can lead the Titans to a championship.
Yeah, if Trent Dilfer can do it, Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, exactly. Trent Dilfer's the same way. By the way, shout out to the UAB Blazers, starting with Trent Dilfer as their head coach tonight. I'm going to get ready to watch that game after this podcast, actually. Yes, though, exactly. You don't have to have an elite quarterback to win one Super Bowl. One. We just want one right now. Just one. Tannehill, get us one, and then you can do whatever you want to. It doesn't matter anymore. But if you can just get hot in week 17 and stay hot through the Super Bowl, I really do think that we have the talent to make one of those runs. I don't think we have Eagles talent. I don't think we have Chiefs talent because we don't have Patrick Mahomes. But we do have top 10 talent, I feel like, and we have the talent to make a run. We need 3 wins in January and February, possibly 4, depending on what our seeding is. 4 wins in 2 months, and we are Super Bowl champions. Tannehill can deliver that if he gets hot at the right time.
Look, man, I think you're right. I think we could make the Super Bowl with Tannehill. Don't think it's that crazy of a thing to say. If you look at his game play in 2020, 2021, it's pretty evident that he can play at a high level.
Yes.
So it's just about the people that's around him. And
we also, when we look at what he did with an offensive coordinator before Todd Downing, he was pretty good. He was an above average quarterback. Whenever he had Todd Downing, as in any quarterback in the NFL would do, he regressed because his offensive coordinator sucked.
Yeah.
The worst offensive coordinator under Vrabel by far. How you go from Matt LaFleur to Arthur Smith down to Todd Downing is horrible. So we got a decent offensive coordinator again. Tim Kelly's going to be pretty good, I think. So let's see what he does now, and I think he's going to be really good again. Honestly, and I think he's got a redemption story to tell too, because how many people are down on Tannehill yet again, are saying that he's washed, saying that he's trash, or saying that he never was good in the first place. And I get it. He's not the sexy quarterback of the NFL that everybody wants to go with. You have your Josh Allen, you have Mahomes, you have Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Lamar. He's not one of those guys, and we don't need him to be. We just need him to get the ball to guys that are open, make a few plays, get a few first downs, get us 24 points a game, and I think we win 12 games this year.
Well, I know you've seen it because you're a Titans fan, but I know you've seen that graphic where they put it up with Patrick Mahomes' numbers and Ryan Tannehill's numbers through 2021 or 2020 and 2021. And Ryan Tannehill's numbers are better in every single category, even rushing and rushing touchdowns, y'all.
I have seen that.
Better than Mahomes when he won the Super Bowl. So Ryan Tannehill has the talent. It's like we just said, you got to have the pieces around him. And then once you're not looking, he was a wide receiver, even for a 30-something-year-old dude. I think he's 34 or 35 this year. Yeah. He can still run fast, so he can still take off on you. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? No, I wouldn't say that. But he's a good quarterback, and that's all you have to be.
Good enough.
Exactly.
We needed to be good enough.
That's good enough. Yep. Yeah, we don't need you to be a superstar, man. Just be yourself.
Yeah, and we have the weapons around him now. I think we have a lot of check down options in Chestnut and Tajay now. We don't just have to overload Derrick Henry. You've got weapons at wide receiver, even the undrafted free agent and Kearis Jackson. And we also have Colton Dowell now that I think is going to be able to get open a little bit. You don't have to rely on NWI as your wide receiver one, even if everyone else gets hurt. All your starters get hurt. NWI is not going to be your wide receiver one now. You're going to have better options than him. So
I think a lot of NWI and his his appeal to the Titans is because he's a big wide receiver that blocks very well. And when you got him on one side and big old Treylon Burks on the other side, who is also a big, good blocking wide receiver. He's also a lot of other good things about but he blocks very well, even though he's our number 2 guy or whatever now. But anyway, that's going to be your first down guys. I mean, when you come out on first down and you're running the ball, NWI is going to be out there because he is a great blocking wide receiver.
And that's not to discredit the rest of his game either, because NWI made some big plays last year, and he was the only semi-playmaker we had.
That's how he makes the big plays. If you go back and watch the tape, in the beginning of the season, people are lined up on him just like normal. But then as the season goes, I mean, he'll start to block a guy. Like literally, he'll start his receiver routes just like he's going to block somebody. And he'll hit his receiver or whatever and then just take off. And the dude will let him go. And NWI is not the fastest guy. So the other, the defender's thinking, oh, I'll catch up with him if he takes off on me. And he's deceptively, I guess, fast. Not really fast, but he is faster than he looks. Yeah, I was going to say he takes long strides. He's like Vince Young. Vince Young looked like he was running in slow motion, and the man was moving like at 20 mile an hour or something like that. So, but my point is that's how NWI gets open. They look at him as a blocker, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, they're going to throw him the ball, and he's wide open because they just look at him as a blocker. But I'll stop dogging NWI. I don't mean to be mean to you, NWI. It's just
I'll give him credit where credit is due. That man has been Mr. Consistent. Not great, not bad. Just a very average receiver who is always ready to go. And that's one thing that I'll always credit him for. I appreciate NWI because he's better than nothing. And last year, we pretty much had nothing. So I appreciate him for always being there. Thank you, NWI, for always being there.
Your availability is what makes you special.
That's his best ability is his availability. I mean, really, that's beautiful.
All right. So the other fan, he always does this to me. Chuck Sheets, it gives me like 3 or 4 questions, but the first one's really easy. Who's our kicker? Well, we already established that.
You know it now.
Had we done this Monday, I'd have a completely different answer. I'd be saying the Saints, which is what I was saying Monday, but nope, we traded New England for Nick Folk, and we also picked up Cody York. So there you go. That's who our kicker is. Moving on from that, it says, did Malik settle the number 2 spot because of Levis injury, or is it still up for debate?
Still up for debate. Please go check out my article on fanbattlesports.com on this exact subject. It's still up for debate. I mean, Coach Vrabel said it. He has already said it. He's answered this question for us. Will's coming back from injury. Malik showed flashes. He had some bad plays, but then some really cool things happened after it. Exact quote right there from Coach Vrabel, actually. Whenever your head coach says you did some pretty cool things, you're in a good spot with him. But put it like this. Like I've said earlier, I think me and Max, we've talked about this. If Tannehill goes down in the game, God forbid, I hope not. But if he does, I think we see Malik Willis for the rest of that game. We're not going to see him go drive for drive in a real NFL game. Malik's going to come in, so he may be our QB2 for that. But the ensuing week, you're going to see Malik Willis and Will Levis in a very heated competition for QB1 at that point. And at that point, I do think that Will Levis might come out of nowhere and, not out of nowhere, but he may come up and grab that QB1 spot if it gets to that point. But as far as just who is QB2, do we know for sure? No, we don't. And if we did, then Coach Vrabel would come out and tell us.
That's what I was going to say, man. Basically, it's like I don't really listen to rumors until Teron Davenport says that it's true. because he's kind of my go-to on the Titans news, as far as the Titans insider. If Teron Davenport says it, then it's true.
Yes.
It
Come on the
always
show,
is.
Teron, please.
Yeah,
We
seriously,
need you on
dude.
here.
Yeah. But it's the same way. I will not say there is a number 2 quarterback for sure until Mike Vrabel does.
Yes.
Because to be honest, you don't know. You know what I mean? For sure.
And to be honest, too,
I could guess all night.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter though, because we know who QB1 is, and this isn't training camp anymore. We're going into the real deal.
That's right.
This
QB2 is a practice guy.
Exactly. And we're going to have 2 quarterbacks who can give the first team defense a good look on different quarterbacks.
That's what I was going to say. I think the real special thing about what we have in our 2 backup quarterbacks is that when we go up against different types of quarterbacks, like if we go up against, let's say, Aaron Rodgers, then we practice against Will Levis.
Right.
If we're going up against Lamar Jackson, then we practice against Malik Willis.
Yeah.
I mean, are they this? No, God, no, they're not the same thing, but their styles are the same. They're similar.
Nice if they were.
Yeah, the way that they move like Malik, when they were moving the pocket with him, stuff like that. I think that is the things that makes them special is the practice and the preparation that they're going to give us later on in the season.
Exactly. And that's the most beautiful part of this time of year is that we can finally stop talking about guys who are not going to play on Sundays during the regular season. And we can finally start talking about the actual roster and guys that we're going to be watching and the fun stuff to talk about and the stuff people actually care about. Because if you're just an average fan, you do not care who the 53rd man on the roster is. I'm more than an average fan. You're more than an average fan. So obviously we care. We cared about all 75 guys and hated to see any of them go. But now, QB2, we're going to worry about that next training camp. Now it's time. Tannehill is the starter. And let's go get it, Tannehill. That's what we're worried about now.
This one, I think, is going to be an interesting question because I don't think we're going to agree on it.
Beautiful.
He said, "Are the starters ready for the season? Not playing hardly at all in the preseason. We always come out slow week 1, and he is not wrong there.
He's not wrong.
We always come out slow. As a matter of fact, if you go back and look at our seasons, it's like 7-1. We lose the first game of the season almost every year.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every single year. And we are every year for the last 2 or 3 years anyway, we have been one of those teams that holds our starters out. And like I've said a bunch of times, I'm not going to harp on it, but I've said a bunch of times, I'm a firm believer in knocking off the dust, knocking off the rust, and getting out there. I know we're all scared of injuries because we're Titans fans, and we've had some injuries. So I get it. I get everyone when they say no. You know what I mean? But for me, I want my guys to get a little bit more reps in. Obviously I'm not the head coach, so my vote doesn't really matter. But that's my 2 cents. Go ahead, Tyler. I'll let you speak.
I think we start out slow, but honestly, I really just don't really care if we start out slow. I want us to finish strong. If we lose to the Saints in week 1, that's not the end of the world. There's 16 more games that we have to play. It's not a division game. It's not even a conference game. It's out of conference. It's against the Saints. They don't have Alvin Kamara. He's suspended. The Saints don't look like they're going to be that great to begin with, even with Kamara in the lineup. Derek Carr, I'm not too fond of. I don't think he's going to do that much, and he might torch the defense for 350 yards. I don't know if he'll have time to do that. As long as our corners don't play 15 yards off the ball, then I think we'll be okay in that game. But honestly, though, we've had the training camp guys that we've had and the preseason guys that have shown out. We could almost play a lot of them and see if it's really because we're not knocking the dust off with the starters, or is it just because it's week 1 and we're being conservative in a non-conference, non-division game?
Oh, we got about 5 minutes left. Do you want to do a hot take for the season?
I'm down.
All right. Here's my hot take for the season. Kevin Byard is going to lead the league in interceptions.
I like it.
And the reason is, I mean, to be honest, there are going to be the quarterback's going to get beat up a lot this year. And teams are going to notice that. And as soon as they notice that, they're going to start trying to develop ways to get around that. And number one thing you do when you know that the other team has a better pass rush than you is get the ball out fast. Within 2 seconds, quick passes to the outside. A lot of screens on wide receivers. And Byard is a ball hawk.
Yes, sir.
He's going to be waiting on that, man. And he's going to get in that lane. I'm guarantee you, man, he's going to light it up this year. Mark my words, Kevin Byard leads the NFL in interceptions.
All right, so I keep getting these wrong. Every time I have a hot take, it's disastrously wrong. So, with that being said, Titans have a bottom 5 offense, bottom 5 defense, and we do not go to the Super Bowl. That is my hot take. No knocks on wood or anything. Since I've been wrong every single time I do a hot take on this team, that is my hot take. One of the worst offenses, one of the worst defenses, and we don't go to the Super Bowl. So maybe I'll be wrong. I
hope you're wrong, dude. Seriously, man. If that's our season, oh man, I don't know if I can go this whole season without dropping an expletive on the show. That's going to be our season. Yeah. But man, we're going to have to try. All right.
So, but I will say, if we start losing a lot in the early season, I'm not with going 9-8 every year for 5 more years. So either this year we need to be really good, or blow it up and start the rebuild, and hopefully we can get rebuilt in the next 2 years. If we're not good, let me throw that out there. But I think we're going to be pretty good. I really do. I think this team is going to be solid. I think we're pretty stacked. I do. Okay. Can you put this comment up here real quick and let me explain the backstory on that?
All right. We're getting into the middle of something here.
So yes, the story on this comment is when my fiance and I started dating, it was sometime last year. And since then, the Titans have not won a game. The 7-game losing streak to end the season started the week that we started dating. So
all right,
I do blame her for that. And I've told her that it's her fault that the Titans haven't won, because I wasn't able to watch them as much when we first started dating. I wasn't able to watch every game all the time. So I that's where that backstory is. So I do blame her for the 7-game losing streak. Now, don't attack my fiance, guys. I'm going to throw that out there too. I will be there to defend her if that's the case. But see, if we start losing,
I don't know. Yeah, if we go on a losing streak, I'm sorry.
I can't hold everybody back, babe. I'm sorry.
No, man. I think we're going to shock a lot of people this year.
I do too.
Like I said, honestly, history tells us anything. We're probably going to lose against the Saints. I don't know why.
And that's okay.
We shouldn't have lost to the Giants last year, but it's just the way it goes with the Titans. We seem to lose the first game almost every single.
And we're going to ridiculously overreact, as Titans fans do. Yep. But in week 2, we're going to win.
We're going to blow it up.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. If we lose in week 1, do not overreact. Although I will be overreacting with you. It's okay.
Now, we're going to shock the nation, to be honest. Yeah. I really believe that. I think our defense is, like I said, top 3, top 5 defense. And then, our offense, I think it's probably going to be about 15, 17, somewhere middle of the road, but that's all we really need.
All we need. 24 points a game, and we win 12 games.
Yeah, we're going to be I mean, and I think the ball distribution is going to be insane I think it's going to be absolutely insane.
Open it up.
People ask me all the time, do you think that we'll have 2 1,000-yard receivers with Treylon and DeAndre Hopkins? And I'm like, yes and no.
I don't know.
I mean, I could see it
Yeah.
because they both have the talent to be 1,000-yard receivers. But I think the ball distribution is going to be so well done this year that I don't think that we might not have any 1,000-yard receivers, although we might pass for way more yards than we did last year.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I hope the distribution is there, though. Like you said, get it to all the weapons, not just try to feed 2 and get them hurt. So,
yeah, man. So, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for us tonight, I think. Good show.
Yes, sir.
Look for us live Monday, as always, at our new time at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central.
7 p.m. Central.
That's right. Tyler, let them know where they can find you at, brother.
At Titan_always22 on Twitter. The Ryan Stonehouse Stan account, showing love to all the specialists. Shout out to our 2 new kickers, Folk and York. I love the 4-letter names for everybody. Ryan, Nick, and Cade. That's a beautiful special teams room. All right. And find us anywhere you get your podcast, Titans Fan Battle Podcast. Every social media, everywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube especially. Please go subscribe. Smash the subscribe button. Smash the like button for everything that you see on there. Help us out. If you want to show support and you don't know how, that is how you do it. Find us, interact with us, check out our blog. That's both Max and I. Last podcast, I definitely said my blog on accident. That is both of our blogs, the Titans blog on fanbattlesports.com. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love y'all. Y'all are the best fan base in the nation. Love y'all. Great show.
Yeah, man. And as always, you can find me, Maximus_Titan_fan, pretty much everywhere on social media platforms. And of course, you can find me also with the Titans Fan Battle Podcast page. Please, like you said, if you want to show us support, man, go to YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification so that you'll get all these awesome videos that we do. It's great. They're going to get better as the season goes on, especially these Thursday night shows. I think we're going to keep it on Thursday night, so we'll quit bouncing that around on you guys. So we're going to keep the Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central, just like Monday night, 7 p.m. Central. So every Thursday you can see our pregame where we break down the next team. Next week we'll be doing the Saints. And thanks again for tuning in. Y'all have a great night.
Tighten
Peace.
up.